Hello friends, I'm Corey. Welcome to my channel, This and That. And this video, I'm going to be sharing 3 recipes that I've turned into budget meals. I've done the research and I have gone on the Walmart website and looked up all the ingredients, and I figured out how much it would cost to make each of these recipes. I've tried to keep them around the $5 to $6 mark, but I have offered on some meals some options that you can go a little bit more expensive if it's in the budget. All of these recipes are linked below in my description box, so if you're interested in making them or printing out the recipe, please feel free to check out the description box down below. Let's get into these recipes. If you purchase the items for this meal, it would cost $6.36. I am using these items from my pantry. I am using a pound of ground turkey, a bag of shells. I'll use about half of this bag, taco seasoning, diced tomatoes, and cheese. So I'm going to get my turkey into the pan. And I'm going to add about half to 3/4 of my bag of shells into my boiling water. So this recipe calls for 3/4 of a cup of water. Instead of using water, I drained the diced tomatoes and I put them into a cup, and that's what I will add into my meat. I somehow forgot to video me adding the tomato water and the seasoning packet, but all I did was add those 2 things. And then I boiled down the tomato water so that way it looks as it does now. And then of course I added my diced tomatoes, and I am now adding my drained pasta, and I'm going to mix this together really well. And now I'm going to add the cup of cheese, the cheddar cheese, onto the top, and also mix this through really well. This is about a 1-cup serving, and there were about 5 to 6 of these. As you can see, there's easily enough here for several other adults or some adults and children. And one of the things you can add with this meal is you can add some crumbled tortilla chips, scooped with tortilla chips, and you can also add some additional cheese. You can make this meal in 2 different ways. Option 1 is with these ingredients for $7.77 and these pantry staples, or option 2 for $5.82 with these ingredients and these pantry staples. So the next meal that I'm making is a chicken pot pie noodle skillet. I found this particular recipe on a Frugal group that I belong to on Facebook, and this is a great meal if you are looking for something different to make. For this particular recipe, you are going to need 10 ounces of egg noodles. You're going to need salt and pepper, peas, chicken broth, cooked chicken. So, this is home canned chicken. You can use canned chicken from the store. You can use rotisserie chicken. You can use cooked chicken yourself. I'm using half and half. The recipe calls for heavy cream, but I've used half and half plenty of times just fine. Some unsalted butter, minced garlic, chopped onions, and also some flour. Now, if you are on a budget and you would like to make this meal and for it to be a lot simpler, then you can eliminate the butter, the garlic, the onions, the flour, and you can use canned cream of chicken soup along with chicken broth, along with half and half. You could even take out the chicken broth if you really wanted, and you could easily make this meal with just a few simple ingredients, and you'd probably want to add onion powder and garlic powder as well, just to give it some flavor. And you can easily make this a lot cheaper meal if you needed to, and it would only be a few dollars to be able to make it. You could even use regular milk that you might have at home instead of half and half. So there are always ways to customize a lot of these meals and make them the way you like them. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my water boiling for my noodles, because they will take a little bit longer to cook than it will to make the gravy. Since my water is just about boiling, and ready for my noodles, I'm going to start my butter. I have 2 tablespoons of butter that I'm going to melt down. And in the butter, I am going to cook my onions until they are slightly soft. Add about 10 ounces of egg noodles. Next, I'm adding garlic. You could use fresh or jarred. Garlic usually cooks down a lot faster than onion does. That's why I'm adding it a bit later, sort of towards the end of when the onions are done. Tells you to add in the peas and carrots, so I'm going to add in my peas. To add in my flour. I'm going to do this slowly. Make sure there is no flour left at all. No white showing. This is what's just going to thicken everything up really nice. So make sure all the flour is cooked down. Now we're going to add our chicken broth. I'm going to add in our cream as well, and then we're going to bring this to a boil. Mix everything in really well. So now that this is boiling, I'm going to give it a good stir because I certainly don't want it to burn to the bottom of my pan. And I'm going to reduce the heat down to a simmer so this can continue to thicken. I'm also going to add a little salt and pepper, just a pinch of each. It's getting nice and thick, and my noodles are almost done. So we're going to add in our noodles. And I'm also going to add in the chicken at this time. And this should be already cooked chicken. And there we go. There is our finished skillet. So this is what a 1 cup serving looks like, and this recipe makes 6 servings. So you could easily feed 6 people, or you could easily feed 4 or 5 people with extra servings. The cost for this meal is $6.65. And these are the pantry staples that you will need. So for this recipe, we are going to need drumsticks. We are going to need teriyaki sauce, and can be any brand. We are going to need rice, and we are going to need broccoli. You're going to set your slow cooker on high for 3 hours. And the recipe that I have calls for you to cook the drumsticks just with nothing in the slow cooker at all. And I like to add a little bit of the teriyaki sauce as it is cooking. It marinates it just a little bit more instead of just the juices being in there. I only have 5 pieces because my husband and I are the only ones who like this recipe, so my daughter will eat something else for dinner tonight. Here is what they look like after they have been cooking for 3 hours on high. And what I'm going to do next is add the remainder of the bottle of teriyaki sauce into the crock pot, and I'm going to cook this on high for an additional 30 minutes. So these are just about finished. So while they are finishing up for the last 10 minutes or so, I'm going to get my water boiling for my broccoli and my rice going. For the rice, I just have some chicken broth. I have some salt and pepper, keeping it very simple. You can put whatever you'd like in here. You can use water with whatever seasonings you have at home that you like. And just going to cook the rice until it is nice and fluffy and the broccoli is soft. Here is the final meal with the teriyaki drumsticks, a side of broccoli, and a side of rice. And depending on how many drumsticks you cooked, you could easily get several helpings for several adults and children. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed these meals and these recipes will be of some use to you. As always, my friends, please like, comment, and share if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget that the recipes are linked below in my description box. And as always, stay safe and be well.